Hello traders, today is the 19th of April. My name is Neville Hornsey, market analyst YouTrading, and today I'll be looking at the Australian dollar versus the yen and a trend following strategy. Okay, this is the Aussie yen on a daily chart. If I go to a weekly, we can see that a couple of weeks ago we had this bar here. Then last week we had an inside bar, so essentially a consolidation pattern. And then this week we've seen a breakout to the upside. So this has grabbed my attention. I'm looking for continuation to the upside. Price actions making higher highs, higher lows. We are essentially not making any test of any of the lows for the last several weeks. So this is a strong trend and we're looking for a bigger move to the upside. 20, 50, 200 period moving averages are all sat bullishly. 200 starting to sort of tick upwards. This 8 is sort of showing how fast the trend has been to the upside. Now, if we go to the news, we can see that Russia and Ukraine are starting to heat up again. We're seeing Russia launch a battle of Donbass on the eastern front of Ukraine. There are other news stories around Russia, Ukraine, and there is also stories out of China. Obviously, they dealing with a resurgence of COVID. Other than that, you would expect to see that type of story make traders move into the safe havens of the yen and the Swiss franc. But we can see here on the Forex heat map on YouTrading.com that the yen and the Swiss franc are actually currently battling it out for the weakest. Australian dollar and the euro, essentially vying for the strongest currency today. So what's happening in Ukraine is probably priced in currently. Unless there's a massive escalation in Russian aggression, it looks like the euro is going to sort of hold against any of those sort of news items. We did have the RBA meeting minutes released this morning, painted a good picture of the Australian economy. Traders are now expecting to see some sort of rate hike in the near future. There is also monetary policy divergence between the dollar and the yen. So if we look at the dollar yen in a minute, we'll see that the dollar versus yen is now at 2-decade highs. We haven't seen these prices since 2002. US yields are going up towards 3%, and the Bank of Japan are adding quantitative easing into the mix still, and they're also trying to keep their bank rate around 0. So monetary policy divergence is showing strength into the dollar versus the yen, and that's affecting other currency pairs like the Aussie yen. So going back to the Aussie yen, if we go to this button here for advanced trading on the active trader platform, there's been a slight update on this platform. Looking here, we've got 92% of traders that are trying to trade this pair, Aussie yen, are trying to go short. They're trying to pick the top. 8% are trying to go long. So I think with sentiment that biased towards the downside, we've got a good chance of seeing higher prices. Let's close that. If we go down to a daily, you can see today was the day that we broke out of the inside week. If we go down to a 4-hourly price action, the 8, 20, 50, and 200 period moving average sort of all stacked bullishly. Price action, as you can see, broken out of this range, looking for some sort of breakout, retest, continuation to the upside. Starting to see that right now. If we go down to an hourly, price action has just come underneath the 8 period moving average. So this is a good chance to start looking for, an area of imbalance. So that would be a high of one of these bars that hasn't been tested by a subsequent bar. So if we start down at the bottom, we've got this high here from the 2 o'clock candle. That wasn't tested by any of the other candles. And if we go up again, this one and this one. So everywhere between this candle and this high hasn't been tested. So we could get a pullback into the 20, maybe the 50 period moving average on this hourly will move into that sort of range. And then we'll start to see some support found, which would also be a good fib, I'd imagine. So if we go from the lowest significant low to the high, the 50% on the fib, anything below that is value. So if we were to get down to 93.709, I'd be looking to sort of buy the bounce on a sort of rejection of that. However, obviously in a strong trend like we're seeing, if we were to get back above the 8 period moving average on, say, like the 30-minute chart, then that would sort of show that that would show that buyers are still in control, and I'll be looking to continue higher. If I go to USDJPY, and when I say I'm looking for continuation to the upside, strong momentum, this is kind of what I mean. So on the dollar versus the yen, like I said, we haven't seen these prices since 2002. We've got a similar situation where the weekly, the monthly are all price actions going a lot higher. All the moving averages all stacked bullishly. We go down to the hourly. We had a bit of a pullback towards the 8-period moving average. Go down to the 30-minute chart. You can see here, we had a pullback into this 8. It held, it didn't close below. So there's obviously still some buyers, sat there. And now if we look to the left, this was the last of the sort of highs that did get tested. So at 9 o'clock this morning, price action came down, tested the high of this imbalance. We had an outside bar here. So that's a continuation pattern to the upside. So this bounce off that imbalance showed strength. We could have taken a long here at 10 o'clock in the morning. But what I wanted to see was a get back above a swing high, pull back into the 8, see that hold or see like a flip underneath, and then continue to the upside, which is what we've got. So at the close of this bar, so last at 12:30 sort of till 1 o'clock, saw that close above the 8-period moving average. And now I'm looking for a risk to reward ratio of 1 to 2. So I'm looking for price action now to go up towards 128.859, and then just take profits there. Or if that is getting quite near to the end of the day, maybe move the take profit a lot higher and then just push the stop loss up into an area where I'm happy to take some profits. That's kind of what I'm looking for. Continuation to the upside, strength against other currencies. Australian dollar looks like it wants to go higher for longer. So trading off the dollar versus the yen is one. The next one, to set up will be the Australian dollar versus the yen. So just waiting for that to close back above the 8-period moving average. If it comes all the way back down to the 93.7, all the better. It just means we've got more distance to the upside to sort of take some profits. Leave any comments or questions below, and I'll answer them in a future video. And I'll speak to you again tomorrow.